Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Gregtech Community Edition Modern. Today, we're starting over here today just to show you how much I actually managed to get through with this thing. It is wild. So, first, we're going to look at the map. You'll see that it is eviscerated. There's only a little bit left. Probably no more than about maybe 50, probably something like 100 ore in this area left that this thing can still mine, and we have one box filled up so far. I did switch over to refinery gas as we needed to get rid of some of that to let our oil processing still go through, as we were completely full of our refinery gas, and we still are. Like, I'm using it, and we still are full, because it's now just not using it fast enough. It's slowly getting through this and getting through more of that, but as you look through, our pipes are getting full. So as it looks like, we still have a little bit there, but we're backing up on this, even though we're only pulling 25 millibuckets every time this goes off, because this is in a depleted zone. Now, I'm not too worried about that being too much of a problem, as this is secondary power production for the void zone. So I don't mind using this up to do that. We are actually pumping light fuel over to the other side as well to distill out. We are through all of our light fuel. We've got a full thing of drilling fluid as of now, which is awesome. And we're stacking up even more lubricant. I did pipe up one of these so I could stick a bunch of charcoal in there and let it smelt in. We're actually going to have to change that up in the future and use pyrrolysine ovens. I could still use, but I could still use the standard coke ovens to get the charcoal to the coal coke. It would just take longer, so I'll probably end up using pyrrolysine ovens anyways, and then you use the coal coke and we get ourselves coal tar as well. So we'll get the creosote from doing coal into coal coke, and then we can use the coal coke to make tons of coal tar, which we can then coal tar. This is the best part. So we'll get naphthalene, which is not too crazy. We'll get more creosote, but we'll get direct phenol, which is what we need to be able to process, we need that to get into our epoxy. We've already got acetone. We're going to need to make epichlorohydrin, there we go. I know I've always said that wrong every time I thought I said it right. And then phenol, which we can get directly from coal tar, which is the direction that I'd like to go with it, as we not only have what I'd been sifting up, we still have all of this, and I believe I have even more downstairs, which we could probably swap out and just put this all together in one group. Nope, we're still over by just a little bit. But the other thing I wanted to show you, so we had that one aluminum crate filled. There is a stainless steel filled to the brim and a titanium filled to the brim, and it's not even done mining. That's wild. And I did switch up the setup. I had 4 ore washers. Got 4 thermal centrifuge, and then all of our macerators are now taken from the front, swapped here in the back. I've barely grazed it, and I've been running this all night long. So that's just how much is in here. It's kind of crazy to think how much is actually there, considering I don't think you're supposed to make it there. I don't think you're supposed to be here. You're not supposed to be here. I don't know how you made it there. You're supposed to be in there. I have no idea how that thing made it over here. We're gonna lock that. I switched out my small backpack for the bigger one that we upgraded previously. And it's pretty crazy how much stuff we've actually got now. I am going to actually have to start pulling titanium out of my computer, as after all of that, look how much. We got nearly 2K. Granted, that'll be gone in a flash the next time we need to make something, so that is one downside. But let's go ahead and get ourselves a barrel or a drum. We don't need too much or anything crazy. We just need enough. And we're actually going to go over to the Void World area to get started on what we've got planned for today. So let's head on over there. So I did set up, I don't remember if I showed this on camera, I set up another combustion engine. I think I did. We've got our light fuel distillation tower as well as our light fuel cracking unit, which something tells me that there's an issue. Maintenance is fine. Insufficient outputs. What do you mean? Okay. Insufficient fluid? Outputs? Is something full? Nothing's full. What do you mean, insufficient fluid outputs? Naphtha. Oh, that's because we're making fuel over here. We're out of tooling. So let's come over here and say, do that and auto input from that direction. We'll actually have to go down there and change the direction of a pipe. So let's remove that auto direction feed. And that should start to fill up this way again. It looks like we might actually have to have that go in both directions at this point, because I didn't realize we had that much naphtha in the pipes. Just kind of been letting it do its thing for a while, and realized we backed it up that much. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so I've gone ahead and siphoned off more power into some transformers so that I can pull it out this way. Considering 1 IV would equal 4 HV, I know I can siphon off one more in its current state. Now, because of the way that the fuel usage is in this, I would rather make it so that we're using, even if we're using twice as much fuel, we produce more power, and therefore, oh, I forgot the last part that I needed. Therefore, it's actually going to be more efficient to do this. So let's go ahead and get our inputs. I think I ended up using the inputs I was making. So we're going to actually have to wait on that. Once I get the rubber in there, we'll let it do its thing. And we'll go back and do the other thing while we wait in the meantime. So, yeah, well, let's go do the other thing, since we gotta wait for a bit more rubber to be made up. So, we did set up, or I set up, a area to start processing platinum group items, as it is the next logical step, and I have forgotten to do something before we come over. We have to go down into the basement, all the way into the basement, because we need to make ourselves two different things. So we've got ourselves the nitric acid, which is currently outputting that direction. However, we also need to bring this somewhere. So we need to put our fluid link on here, make sure that we have a nitric acid output, which if we go to zeros, we need 7 zeros and a 3. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3. Change it to that, and we have nitric. Okay, if I could not fat finger the keyboard, nitric acid. And set import the nitric acid, and we are good to go onto the other end. Now, the one thing I did want to double check and look up is that to make this, we also need hydrochloric acid, which I know we've got plenty up above here, so let's go look at that. don't think I have hydrochloric acid. No, I do not. So let's go ahead and slap one of these bad boys on there too. So we need that. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 4. Make sure we don't have that one, and click. And we'll go hydrochloric acid. So that we remember what is in there, even if it is empty at some point. I'm thinking we're running a bit low on sulfuric acid because we are just not getting sulfur in fast enough at this point. Which is one of the reasons I want to get this platinum group thing up, because it will pull the sulfur out of all of those items. They will go into it. So, I realized I forgot one last thing. Let's go back. This is exactly why I'm glad that we have holes in the floors to get us down to different places. We're going to stand back over here as this entire area is extremely loud. I'm going to have to tone it down for you guys. But it is blasting my ears out right now. So we're going to want to put this on there, and we need to hurry up and get it changed. Oh boy. 1000000. Do that. Whoa, this is a problem. So let's go ahead and grab all this out. I have to place down a chest. I'm glad I got some spares in my inventory. Just to get all of this junk out for now. We will sort through it later. But we've got that. This is going to be and this imports into there. Now we can get out of that noisy place and head on over to the Void Realm again. Now, I kind of only want it to bring in one at a time, so we will leave it here as the fluid link thing. So I don't think, yeah, don't have another fluid link, the under item link. Oh boy. Glad there's only one spot so that it doesn't keep doing that. We gotta change that to a different thing. Pull that out. There we go. And now we just need to add in some nitric acid for it to bathe in. So, put in that. Grab our nitric acid channel. There we go. We'll start to get copper solution from this particular blend of the tetrahedrite, which then we'll siphon out this way. We'll get copper and sulfuric acid. This is actually going to be nice because we do need the sulfuric acid for one of our methods over here. And I got it actually all planned out on a piece of paper. We need that for our inert metal mixture. We're going to need 1.5 sulfuric acid, which is great because I've actually switched it around to be this line here is going to be where that inert metal mixture is. So we're actually going to want to change the outputs to have this one at the top and this one at the side. And then we're going to just let that keep running as it is for now. We need to grab out our advanced chemical reactor. And that's the first thing we're going to have to start with to get... Oh, that's right. We got to do this first. So first thing we actually need to do, we need to get this mixing. So we need 2 of these. One of these is going to be the nitric acid. The other one is going to be our hydrochloric acid. That will make our aqua regia, which we're going to go ahead and let export to the back so that we can have there a reason it's not taking it? There we go. So now we've got our... We'll let that set up a process. I wish we could cap it at a certain lower cap, since that's the only one we've got right now. But we'll leave it there. Probably turn it off after a little bit. But now we need to pipe out our platinum group sludge. So let's do that. Right into the centrifuge, but before we do that, we actually do need to set up some filters, which I guess I left in here. So, the only one that's already set up, this is kind of our throwaway crate right now. Not throwaway entirely, but we can't do anything with this. I was actually so happy that was the case at this point, because I was not ready mentally to go through this one. But the rarest metal mixture cannot be done until we enter IV, because you need a large chemical reactor with IV power. Now, technically, you could overclock the IV to get it done, but you cannot do anything to process this into bars once you get it to be able to be processed into bars until you reach IV anyways, because we need the higher coils. So we can leave that there for now. The other things that we're going to get with our platinum group sludge is we will get raw platinum powder. So we'll get that. We'll get the palladium powder, the inert metal mixture, which is the first one we're going to work on, and the platinum sludge residue is the final product that we will work with today. So let's get out all 4 of these across there. And we're going to say this one is our platinum. This next one is our palladium. The next one... Oop, I skipped one. The next one is the inert metal mixture. And the final one is our platinum sludge. I guess I went the wrong way. Platinum sludge residue. So the platinum sludge residue I'm going to do last. That's going to go here. This is the first one we're going to work on. So we need our inert metal mixture there. And the other 2, it kind of really doesn't matter that much which order I put them in. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the platinum first and the palladium second. Now we can actually let this ensue and start its process. We just got to re-enable that to start pumping it out. And as you'll see, it'll start doing that. It does take 25 seconds to filter through, so we actually have some time to set our stuff up. But the first thing we need to put it into is our advanced chemical reactor with the crate here. I don't know if I do have a single one of those modules set up, so we can actually get that going with that. So that'll sort it all out. We got our inert metal mixture, our platinum, our palladium, and our sludge with our singular rarest metal mixture going down to the end. So the first thing we'll do, we'll enable this to go ahead and pump into there, and we will need 6 inert metal mixtures for the first craft that we're going to get. Now we're going to go ahead and say we want our sulfuric acid out of this. So let's go ahead and pump. Did I not bring polytetrafluoroethylene pipes? I did not. So I guess we're going to have to go grab that as well. Let me look at the rest of the stuff. We need one of these. And then we're going to need 2 electrolyzers, it looks like. Oh, that's right. I just forgot that basically there are a few other things that I'm going to want to get. That'll be a little bit further down the road. We're just going to do the process to get them all sorted out first. So there is our inert metal mixture. Let's go ahead and grab ourselves a couple buckets. We're going to do 6 to start. Actually, we'll do 12. That's probably the better one to do. there is 12. Because it needs to be an even of a 1.5 divisive. So now we've got our ruthenium tetroxide dust, our rhodium sulfate, which is an extremely high temperature, so we are going to have our better pipes to pump that out, and we've got hydrogen. Can't remember, let me look at this here, we got hydrogen. We're going to get a bunch of excess hydrogen at the moment. I don't remember where I can feed that back into the system, but I'm sure there's a way for me to make hydrochloric acid so I'm not burning so much of my own supply. We're going to actually go ahead and turn this off, considering we already have a ton to be able to process what we have right now. So with the ruthenium tetroxide, that one, we're going to go ahead and have that come out straight out here. That gives us the ability to take our next thing that we need, which is a chemical reactor with carbon. So I will have to go grab carbon, since I forgot to grab that. But let's go do that. Grab some carbon. We can grab ourselves one other thing. Go down to my supply of cauldrons and grab one of those, because we're going to need another water thing. There you go. Okay. Let's say we want water, an infinite water supply. Which, yes, I have a cauldron. It's in my inventory. Thank you. And let's grab some carbon while we wait. I think 16 will be enough to go through the cycle. We'll go to 32. Why not? Just give us enough to be able to have excess in the cycle in case we need that. Wait for this water cover. And the cool thing about this, and this is where I kind of am... Let's see, can I make a couple excess tanks right now? No, we're waiting on rubber, that's right. At least I got a bunch of extra rubber here. Looks like we're almost done with the rubber that we were facilitating there. There's that. Well, we can do 4 of them for now, so let's do 4 more. We'll let that cook while we go over work on what we need over there. Since I got that in my inventory, I'm actually just going to go wash it in this bucket of water over here. Dump that into our mixture area, because it is also one of the platinum group ores. Now we can go hood on back over here. Okay. Out there. Right there. So now, if we put our carbon in here, it'll start processing through, and we will get our ruthenium and carbon dioxide. So the carbon dioxide, we're going to filter the carbon back. So to do that, I grabbed myself a second electrolyzer. We will slap down a power cable. Power cable with the electrolyzer right on top. We will have the carbon dioxide go out that way. And then we will have the carbon go back. And there we go. Now we will have to set up a place to gather the ruthenium, and we will have to pipe the oxygen out somewhere, which is why I wanted some excess tanks. So I can just get the oxygen and stuff out of the system without having to clear it, and then I can figure out where I might be able to piece it back into the system in the future. So that finishes our ruthenium dust tree. Now the other one we're going to have to deal with is the rhodium sulfate. That one itself needs to go into an electrolyzer, which will create sulfur trioxide and oxygen. that is one of the key things that we were going to need to be able to do. So we can actually go ahead and put that right over here. Wire up that with the second electrolyzer we'll be using. Right there. And we will just need a liquid filter so that we can have the rhodium go that way. And then I will need to go grab another chemical reactor. Let me see. We're going to get, out of this, we'll get... I think we get the rhodium as the other part. I think I forgot to write that down. Yeah, so we'll get the rhodium. So the rhodium is probably going to come back, and then we'll tuck it underneath and bring it out to the end here. So let's go grab... Probably actually pipe all of the outputs that we want back into a chest or a crate over here. Then we can pipe it back into our system using the under item links. We do need ourselves one more chemical reactor, I believe. Let me think about this. Oh no, it was the filter. That's what I needed to go grab. Yeah, I don't have any water filters, like fluid filters on me. Really should set up the fluid filter. Fluid. Filter. Should have just typed filter. And we'll do that one. I think this is the only one where we really... No, we will need a second line. So we'll go ahead and craft up 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright. Looks like that's the only other time we will need it, because everything else produces separate... Yeah, separate outputs. So... we can now say we need this to be the only output here. And then we will say that's going to electrolyze into sulfur trioxide, which we're going to go ahead and do the sulfur trioxide up to the top. So let's do that. I don't know why I did that. Sulfur trioxide to the top. We will have that output there. And this one, we're going to have it output to the rear. Okay, you're outputting to the rear. You should accept the input now, right? Unless it's because... What do we got? Oh, extract. And same thing, extract there. Okay. And there we go. We got our first rhodium, which again, we're going to probably pipe it down and underneath. Come out to a chest out here. And then we're going to have our sulfur trioxide and our oxygen. So let's get... Ooh. So if we get salt in there... I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to use this sulfuric acid in this, because I know that we can use the sulfur trioxide. Yeah. I figure out ways that we can make some stuff out of this stuff. This is the part that's been stumping me the entire time I've been thinking about this. But out here, we've got our electrolyzer. We've got the carbon back in. And there we go. We will just need to get the hydrogen out of there so that we can continue with that one. So now it comes down to our platinum. And with our platinum, we merely need to electrolyze it and get our chlorine and our platinum. So let's get ourselves another electrolyzer. Place it down right there. And go grab ourselves 3 more modules to actually be able to do something with it. I think I ended up using them somewhere else is why I'm having a problem. I don't remember what I used them on in the meantime. But I used them somewhere, and I can't figure out exactly where I put them. But it's been great to hear all of these machines going off nonstop, and even with that, we are still generating more fuel than I'm consuming, which is kind of crazy. One of the reasons I am so okay with using that over there at the moment before... I don't really want to move it just yet, because we are at the stage where we can make the next tier in fluid rigs. So moving it kind of feels a little bit bad, considering as if we get this next tier up, it goes to 50% consumption rate, which means that we'll get the higher production rates for much longer. So now, if we come on over, we can take our conveyor module, toss that there, and we will get our platinum, which we can go ahead and have come out the back, because that is where we'll pipe it up to the front. Is from there, and then we can have our chlorine come out the side, and we'll slap a tank on there just so it can kind of keep going. And it did say that the chlorine was 100% reusable. The part that I find a little bit difficult to believe is that it does take... The recipe takes the full, like, amount of platinum you make, but you only get... You don't even get a full bucket of chlorine back. And this itself ends up using 2 full chlorine. So I'm just kind of like, I don't believe that thing of that it's supposed to be fully recycled. Unless they change something in the way that it works. So there's that platinum one already done. That's nice and simple. One that starts to get a little bit more complicated again is our palladium, which we have to start with a chemical reactor and hydrochloric acid. Now, this is one of the things that actually is kind of nice, because we do get ammonia back here, as well as hydrochloric acid once we're done with this. So we're going to go ahead and put the chemical reactor down first. We got our chemical reactor right here. 1, 2. Get our power lines. Looks like it's just 2 machines here. So we're going to go ahead and get our chemical reactor down, and the next thing we will need is an electrolyzer. So we do need some regular filters, which I do not have at the moment, but we can show off how this works with me just hand transferring stuff, because it's not fluids. So we'll get our palladium in there, come back over here, and grab out some hydrochloric acid with buckets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we'll go 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that will take us 10 seconds, and we will get ammonia chloride and palladium. So we're going to take that ammonia chloride out. That one will go into here, and it comes out, and we get ourselves hydrochloric acid and ammonia. So we do need this. Oh, we're going to need some more fluid stuff. But we can take this. We can take our hydrochloric acid. I don't think I have any of that set up yet. So fluid, hydrochloric acid, and right there. And then allow it to exit that way. And we just need it to say extract. And And there we go. And now that'll be able to keep cycling and making us more of this stuff once we get ourselves a filter to allow the ammonia to enter here. So that setup is pretty much done. We'll just have the ammonia that comes out the other end, which I will fill up this to start until I can figure out how I'm going to cycle it all back into the system. I know that if I get some nitrogen back out here, we can get... Actually, no, the ammonia has nitrogen. What am I talking about? We just need to put this with oxygen, and we can get ourselves the hydrogen, and we get ourselves some nitric acid back. So that will fully fund the nitric acid solution that we need for this, which is nice. The only problem I have is, again, the hydrochloric acid. Where am I supposed to get the stuff to supposedly keep going with that? The only thing I can think of is that we have so much excess sulfuric acid that if we pull that out, we might be able to, what's it called? Actually, there's no chlorine in that. What am I talking about? I don't know. I'll have to figure this out, but I know that we have excess hydrogen. We just don't have enough excess chlorine because it takes a whole chlorine to make the hydrochloric acid. And with each craft only making 0.8, it's not enough to actually filter back into the system, considering, like I said, you need 2 per craft of the Aqua Regia. So, kind of weird that it does tell you that it's good, but it's not. So, I don't know. Figure that out later. And the final setup we actually have to set up, we've got platinum, we've got palladium, we've got metal mixture, and we have platinum sludge, which I would say is probably the easiest, and the only one that I've conveniently forgotten to actually get ready for. I've got myself a chemical reactor, which does nothing for me because that's supposed to be for this thing here with the sulfur trioxide. So, I think that's it. Let me see. Yeah. Yeah, so that's for me to make the sulfuric acid that feeds back into here. So, I guess we can actually do that really quick. Plop that up, get our sulfur trioxide, put on our water, and say we want it to make... Oh, we gotta power it. Duh. So this is making oxygen as the last thing. I guess the best way to power it is just from this side. No, it's not. This is the side that's best to power it from, as that output, or the other front, is not where it can be. Can't be, have a cover put on that other side there. There is that. Go ahead and break 2 wires we don't need. Flip. And then we'll just need to get ourselves a way to feed it back into the system. As, like I said, I don't have the pipes with me. So let's go get the centrifuge that I need. Might actually... No, I don't have one. So we need a centrifuge. Centrifuge. I believe we can just do any of them because it works in a regular LV. But I'll be back when that's done, and we'll do that last part of the sludge group that we can do. Alright, we're back, and I got not only the centrifuge, but actually a couple of the other stuff to fully finish what we gotta do. So now I can go ahead and take the centrifuge out. We are gonna need an electrolyzer afterwards too, so we'll do that. We are going to go ahead and say we want our wires 1, 2, out from there, 1, and then we got to get ourselves this module. Now the platinum will turn into both gold and silicone. Once that is done, we want ourselves, we're going to need ourselves another conveyor module after, but we can take our silicone out. I always forget to do this part. So we need our silicone. So that's going to give us the silicone. Place that there. Let it automatically dump from that end into our electrolyzer. Do we have one more? I thought I had another electrolyzer. Where did that go? We're out of electrolyzers, guys. It's funny. But we'll get the silicone and oxygen from that, which again, I'm going to pump out to a separate tank over here so we can figure out what we're going to be doing with all those random fluids that we're going to have. So let us go ahead and reverse these things again, because I do want to drag it out this way. I've still yet to grab myself the stuff for acid pipes, so that's going to take a second, and I'll have to do that later. But that is all of the different setups that you need for the platinum processing. I'll have to fiddle with it a little bit, figure out how we can get some of this stuff back in. I know that getting the nitric acid is going to be easy. It's the hydrochloric acid that's going to be the pain in the butt, because you need 2 of them. And again, I still don't understand why it tells me, oh, yes, you get enough chlorine back, when it's like, it's not enough. You'll get pieces back, but not the whole thing. Especially since this requires the hydrochloric acid to be able to even continue to run itself. Which I find a little bit bizarre that it tells you that you're going to get all your stuff back when you don't. But that might just be a problem with the pack, that they've edited some balances for some reason. Who knows? But thank you guys for watching. Next time we can actually use this to do some pretty amazing things. I'm actually quite excited for, as like, that it gets into the part of Gregtech that I find Gregtech to be so fun for. Or the same thing, I like some of the newer mods that have been coming out, because I don't want to spoil it, but it is my favorite thing about some of the newer Minecraft mod packs. And Gregtech was the first one that I realized that really had this kind of stuff. I'll show you guys next time. Thank you guys for watching, and bye!